Okay, we can begin. I'll begin doing a presentation based on O-Cademy, and then Dr. Shah, you may unmute and be able to speak anytime during this if you wish, as we do a special webinar. And then at the very end, I have slides from Dr. Shah that will be his primary presentation. So here we are. We were fortunate enough to meet with Ash down in Orlando, Florida last year, and Dr. Shah and I basically introduced him to the medical event that Dr. Shah is putting on around the world, and we're going to describe that in detail today for you. What's going to be the union of two gigantic minds putting together concepts that will unite the IT world, the medical world, and make the OnPassive and the doctor-to-doctor movement stronger. So we're looking forward to sharing that with you. Now, we have a backbone that's going to make our program different and better. And the IT section is huge, but when you add artificial intelligence to the IT, it gets even better. So somebody's drawing on the screen. I don't know who's doing that, but it's interesting looking, right? The IT that we have with artificial intelligence will make more intelligent decisions, smarter services will be available. We'll have more intelligent products, more intelligent business operations. So if this happens with the education platform, it's going to set us apart from all the others. Nobody else will have quite as much of the same type of products that we do with artificial intelligence kind of baked into them from the beginning. And I always tell people, this is the very last time you can get in as a founder. So if you're looking at this and you're not a founder, what you're going to see is something revolutionary, and you might want to pay close attention to exactly what's going on in the timeline. And I have a bold prediction that the majority of the teaching and instruction worldwide, once people find out about O-Cademy, we're going to be on the top of the heap because we'll be adding things to the systems for teaching online that nobody else has. We're especially talking about the Universal School of Health, starting at the top. Now, Ash said this yesterday. He said on the webinar that we attended together, he said, with O-Cademy, we're starting at the top with doctorate programs, MBA programs, master's programs. Of course, a lot of people build up from the bottom and take time to get to the top. We're starting at the top from the very beginning. So this is a unique opportunity. What we call it is a game changer for education. We're going to remake the digital planet in a way that we use education from K all the way through graduate programs, postdoctorate, to bring things to the local level and basically cut out the middleman. We're going to connect students to teachers, tutors to students in a way that they can go directly to each other and learn so much better. Now, there's a lot of benefits to having a program based on what O-Cademy has. And so we'll look through some of these benefits about online learning. We're going to be able to save time and money. You know, that means that when I got my education, postgraduate education after dental school, I had to travel all over the United States and internationally. Sometimes I would spend perhaps $2,000, $3,000 on a trip to take a class at a particular hotel where I just went and watched somebody show slides and lecture. So it was something that back in the day when I started my practice, it wasn't available to be seen online. It wasn't available for somebody to project that across the world online. You know, you could buy a videotape maybe and visually see it if you shipped it to your house and put it on a DVD player or a VHS player. But it was not something that we could do immediately. It took time, and it took thousands of dollars sometimes to travel, and many hundreds of dollars to buy a videotape of some important lecture. Well, time changes all that, and now we have access. We have the ability for reports to be generated during teaching. We can go into getting manuals and syllabus, reports, updates. We can poll, we can vote, we can take a class, and we can look at what's going on as a group in a class and talk about it online. We can collaborate online. There's a lot of flexibility built into this learning system that we're going to be describing in detail. Because it's flexible, that means we can speed up the learning process and take classes consecutively, hour after hour, as long as we want. We don't have to wait for the next week for the instructor to get ready for the next class. Sometimes the class will be evergreen. It'll be residual online to where we could take 5 hours of class in a row because they're already in the system in order, and the instructor's already put them up for us to consume those lectures. And we don't have to wait for the instructor to come back each week. We can finish it all in one day if we feel like it. That's the way this will benefit us as far as flexibility. We'll have scalability. You know, many times we teach one-on-one, many times we want to teach one-to-many, but how many are held in a classroom? Well, the number of people in the classroom is typically 30, 50, 100 maybe. Depends on the size of the room, of course. I took classes in college that were 200 people. But the truth is, if you want to scale it larger, and Dr. Shah and I know this, we've been teaching for many years online now, and we can put 500, 1,000, 5,000 people in a room online and teach all at once around the world. And so the scalability that OCADEMY will give us is going to be quite large. So there's a whole range of courses that you can teach. OCADEMY is going to have courses for every age and every subject. We'll have thousands of courses. We've already got thousands of them kind of pre-lined up that Ash and his team have put together that are in the bank, you might say, for OCADEMY for people all around the world to take advantage. I mean, these are high-level courses, college level and postgraduate level courses already available in many of the IT areas. And Dr. Shah and I and others are putting together a medical group of courses that will be equal to what Ash has already done in the IT world for learning how to do different programming languages and whatnot. So the whole range of courses that we have will go from kindergarten all the way to postgraduate. We'll have live classes available, and we'll also have canned classes that they put up in advance and can be played at the student's time period that he wants to take the classes. So you'll have live classes going on a schedule basis. You'll have classes getting together where you have interaction among the students, interaction with the instructors, one-on-one or one-to-many. One of the things that's really interesting about this particular situation is all the lectures that an instructor wants to give over a period of a time, maybe 6 months or a year, could be uploaded all at one time and put into an evergreen mode. And so they may come on live, introduce the subject, talk for a few minutes, then push a button, start the lecture of the video, and then watch the video play and not have to repeat the lecture every time. This is a major benefit to many instructors. For example, I went around the country myself teaching 2-day classes in orthodontics for 5 years. And I taught the same material every weekend for 2 days for 5 years. And I would tell you, it got redundant. And so if you can give the instructor the ability to tape his courses and then be able to push the button and play the course, but still be live and be able to answer questions before and after and lead a class, then you give the instructor a lot more free time but you also give the instructor a lot more freshness, not to have to repeat the same material time after time after time. The students can access these at any time. That's a benefit too. They don't have to do it on a schedule where they're taken away from their work time, their family time. You can get your education in your free time, still keeping a job. You can do it at night or on weekends when you may not be working, or you may do it on your off shift if you're doing shift work. The good thing about online learning and OCADEMY in particular is that we'll be able to plan our educational experiences in a much better way. Everybody wants to be able to teach more people, and one of the biggest ways you'll ever teach more people is having a language capability to teach in another language. So if I wanted to teach in Hindi, but I've only spoke English myself, then OCADEMY can help. I can teach my English class, but it can print out what I'm saying in Hindi at the bottom of the page, and we'll be able to reach people in a whole nother country that I may not have been able to reach if they didn't speak English. Same in Russian, same in Spanish, French. The major languages, 17, 18 major languages for sure, and maybe even 108 total. So we think the future of technology with this language capability is going to be huge. If you have multiple languages you can teach in, there's no limitations as to how much you can learn, when you can learn, and who you can learn from. And that's been a major problem in some countries, is you can't learn everything in some countries because they just don't have the manpower to teach those particular areas. Now, with multi-language learning systems, we'll be able to do just that. So we feel that OnPassive and their OCADEMY platform is the best e-learning platform available, and the tutors can explain their lectures, the students can answer questions live. You can draw on a whiteboard with our product, and you can have collaboration. You know, it's just like being in the classroom when you have OnPassive. We have data analyzation, so we can detect and determine things that are going on, who's our demographic, people watching our courses. We can know where they're from and what demographic they're made up of. One of the things that's unique about OnPassive's OCADEMY is distraction detection, and it's particularly going to be useful for people that are teaching young students. And when you want somebody to be paying attention to what you're saying, you'll have the ability as an instructor to know that. I think the benefit that most people are looking forward to, particularly in this COVID area, is the working from home. Usually, back in the day, we would always have to schedule a time during work hours to take classes. And most people didn't have nighttime learning opportunities, but now we do. The chatbot is going to be helpful. It'll give you support where you have e-learning. When you look at the instructor teacher model that's out there right now, you have to go to a place where the administrators set up schools and they tell you when you show up. They pretty much tell you what to teach. And what we have with OCADEMY is that we have the ability for the instructors to take control. They'll give the ability to teach what they want, when they want, how they want, to as many people as they want. And they'll have the ability to charge money for their classes and receive residual income. You can put your course together once. Yeah, you know, if you're an instructor or if you're just somebody that's a student, you can really win with this program. If you have the idea that you could take classes while you're in school and while you're still working, you can be debt-free before you finish your classes. If you're a founder, particularly, you'll have income coming in. So you can learn on the job, you can learn skills, and while you're taking classes, you can earn income. If you're an instructor and you want to teach what you know, and then put your information online, and then you'll get residual lifetime income from what you teach, from what you learn, but also from being a founder, you'll get residual lifetime income. So it's a double win when you're a founder. And if you want to be an instructor can really do well with this program. Think about, anything that you want to teach, anywhere from homemaking to technical shop type ideas with woodworking, painting, anything that you would like to teach. It's a hobby. You don't have to charge a lot, but you can get a lot of students. And if you have 10,000 students paying you $2 or $3 to take a class, you still got a pretty good income. Or you could have just 5 students and charge them $300 and then have good income. So it just depends. And we'll be talking a lot about what Dr. Shah has created in terms of a doctorate program and how that's going to look in just a minute. So the idea is we'll have multilingual, over 108 language capability. We'll have live classes, one-on-one or one-to-many. We'll have built-in payment systems into the program so they don't have to go outside and find a money processing software to add into it, which is one of the biggest problems when you're talking about teaching. How do you get the money between the student and the teacher? We'll be able to search and find courses with our category filtration. We'll be able to load up all of our information as instructors, and there'll be speed adjustment. Maybe you want to listen to somebody talk a lot faster, and so you can speed up the time it takes for that video to play. Worldwide, the income coming in from online platforms to teach is $250 billion, and it's expected to rise to $1 trillion in just 4 more years. So we want to take a big piece of that pie with OnPassive's O-Cademy, and I think we will. And somebody's enjoying pushing that forward, I see. Let me back up. Let's give learning a new beginning. Let's look at how we can change education. Let's look at how we can improve education. Let's take the student out of the ghetto and into a master class. Let's let the student go to places that they could never go from their way deep in the country where there's no facility for higher education. Let's take the student and put them in the middle of an urban situation. Online means you can go urban immediately. Online means that you can get out of the urban blight immediately. Things can happen online that you can't do physically. And so we want to give the opportunity to people to become more through education. And with that, I want to bring on Dr. Shah to talk about his concept of O-Cademy and how it's going to play a role in his major endeavor in life, and that's creating a more egalitarian medical system. So, Dr. Shah, it's all yours.
Thank you, Bill, for the preliminary introduction. I'm just going to give you a notch every time we're going to switch a slide. So you can proceed with the next one, and we can talk through the 10 slides that I would like to discuss today. First and foremost, I would like to invite you guys to Podinar on our platform. Podinar was a term coined by us years ago that mixes a podcast and a webinar style format, where we have not only a one-on-one with the speakers to get to know them for the audience and establishing a rapport, but also to have some scientific information that we put in front of them in the latter part of the Podinar. So this upcoming Podinar will discuss how we are planning to roll this out amongst our partners and networks and organizations that we have innovated and implemented. All right, next slide, Doc, please. What is the Universal School of Health? In medicine and healthcare, we live by a certain rule, which is we all abide by the Hippocratic principles. That means do never any harm. and sort of care for your patients more than you care for profit and for other things in your healthcare facility. Over the last 40, 50 years, lots of third parties have walked into the healthcare industry. That's why patients, you, are not getting the optimal healthcare, because the people that are in the middle of the equation always want more. They always want to control more. So doctors cannot render the proper care to you, and prices go up because of all of these third parties who invited themselves into our industry. You know, it takes 20 years to go to school to become a doctor, and then you have these business people walking in like they have something to report, or something we should be listening to. That's not the case. Our system started with creating a first of its kind doctor-to-doctor movement for the sole benefit of doctors and the sole benefit of patients, no one else. The way we enable that in this age is with technology. You cannot fight these third parties with trillions of dollars at their disposal, but what you can do is you can out-innovate them, create better systems, better products, better ideas. And that's what we have done. This Universal School of Health relies on the Hippocratic principle, not about the rules and laws of men, but by something that we all are bonded by, is to find ways to care for patients. Universal School of Health will only teach one way of practicing medicine and dentistry and pharmacy and optometry and chiropractic. And it's based on the right way of doing things, not the way they want it done between states and countries and borders and everything else. You guys have to understand that with globalization, the tables have changed. They have turned. People are not working based on what is happening in the country. They're collaborating with everyone around the world. And the timing couldn't be any better. So when you're going to launch such a product or project, timing is a very important key factor in the equation. Next slide, please, Doc. So creating a universal school was our endeavor. For didactic and other type of programs, we can take that out of the classroom and have that online with the system that is being proposed with O-Cademy, and have less of the hands-on in the workshops and things that need to happen in a medical setting and training done in a metaverse situation, as well as local hands-on scenarios. So it's a hybrid program that we're building, not just for dentistry, where Dr. Williams and I are from, but now we have representatives that have joined us from all of the other medical professions, because they think it's a very good idea to create a lean machine that eliminates all the third parties and focuses on the task. And this can be duplicated in any industry subsequently. You eliminate all of you get rid of the fat, and you have a much more lean system. So you can go to the universalschoolofhealth.com. Our intent is to collaborate with the O-Cademy once we launch it, to conduct our online endeavors on this program, where we can be with you and have mastermind groups and have maximum exchange of information online without the interference and special interests. I invite you to visit Universal School of Health to understand how we are going to implement the OnPassive endeavor in terms of the didactic portion of our programs. All right, next please. O-Cademy, how lovely is it that you as an individual anywhere in the world can sit there and start your school and your university for something that you want to teach. People respect knowledge and information and efforts in that regard. I highly encourage you to look into it and also create programs. If you have something to teach in this day and age on the internet, it's very valuable. This will allow you and give you the platform that you need to do so and have a worldwide audience. There are multi-million-dollar businesses built every day online based on educating others on how to do something, whatever it may be. So you might want to look into that. If you have something to teach for somebody else that they may benefit from, you will be rewarded accordingly, because you get to set the fees and set the structure that you want to do for your school or your university. We're just happening to be the first one to do this with OnPassive, and we hope that you look at some of the benefits that it is representing to have. We can go ahead and go to the next slide, Doc, a little bit more about the O-Cademy. So as Dr. Williams emphasized, the multilingual scenario is very important to us because in the world of globalization, where where we're all collaborating in the supply chain with one another across the world, um, local rules and local concepts become obsolete in time. What will happen is that we're going to get more and more integrated into this global supply chain. And the people that are working on innovations to make that and enable that will be the winners of the next generations to come. Artificial intelligence, those are all going to slowly take over the manual labor of humans. And we need to be on this ship, or you will be left behind. Video, your categories, your unique adaptability, to have those functions up to now was only available to universities using mass enterprise solutions for their blackboards and all of that. But now it's at anyone's disposal, which is what the scientific method is about. You're supposed to be able to ask questions. You're not supposed to be able to be in one scenario. You're supposed to be able to start your own programs, your own investigations, your own lectures. So this will enable you to do that, which is a very powerful tool. And with the collaboration of the Universal School of Health, I think we will have a massive launch at some point that will not only benefit the O-Cademy movement, but as well as our doctor-to-doctor movement, which is our source of interest. Next slide, please. Is there a question?
No,
Okay.
sir, no.
Okay, we can get to that as well. I'll be glad to answer any questions you guys may have. So how did this start? This started in 2013 for us between the doctor-to-doctor movement. You know, for thousands of years, we've been providing healthcare to patients, and we have passed on the baton from one generation to the next generation until the last 50 years or so, where these companies started becoming technologically enabled. They started having more purchasing power than us. Insurance companies, management companies, advertising companies, equipment companies, and on it goes. They have started sort of moving themselves inside the equation that they shouldn't be in because they don't understand the Hippocratic oaths. They came in and they outpowered us. They started, doctors were in their offices, taking care of patients, taking care of their families, doing good in the community. And these guys were scheming in the middle of the night to start turning the tables on us and turning us into their laborers. We don't want to be their laborers. We want to have a patient-doctor relationship that we cherish. So we fully focus on the patients, not them and their pocketbooks. So we had to create a system that eliminates their control over our noble professions, the healthcare industry. So the doctor-to-doctor movement was started. It is lean, it's mean, and essentially the people that make the decisions and run this operation are doctors, period. So we started with dentistry. Now we have branched out in 6 different branches. And at the height of COVID in 2020, March or so, we put on a 45-day marathon that reached over 2 million healthcare professionals across the world. I believe we may have covered every inch of the map, but 4 or 5 countries in Africa. When that conference was going on, it was the largest global interdisciplinary summit ever conducted. And with that, we learned more and more how online systems can work and how we can actually create an environment of collaboration to a vast tune and a vast scale by using technology as its infrastructure. All right, Doc, we can move on to the next after our crest here and discuss what happened after. At the same time, we started getting to know Mr. Ash a little better and had that meeting, fortunately, in Orlando to see how we can collaborate, how we can bring this platform of doctors onto essentially in a collaborative method with OnPassive to enable our dreams, our endeavors, our futures. When we started, everybody was, and I'm sure there was the same thing with OnPassive. It's not going to happen. You can't do it. No, 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 no. And after a year or two, now everything is yes, 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 yes. So that's the power of persistence and determination that we have exhibited, and we have seen similar from OnPassive in their growth pattern. So we started in 2020 with our first class. It was inaugurated at on 1-1-2020 at 00001 hours. And since then, 2 years later, we have expanded out of 100 in dentistry to 500 more doctors from pharmacy, optometry, chiropractic, and medicine, and medical philosophy. It's important to us. This is a little bit over 120 countries now that we have collaboration and representation in. These are very high-profile doctors that are accomplished, that have done something for others, that are selfless, that have a very lengthy resume, and that went through a thorough vetting process as well as an election process. You guys see two different things under that top 100 doc and HEX commission. I strongly invite you guys to visit those as we grow mutually with OnPassive. There may be many, many areas of collaboration, and we would love to have your help, and subsequently we would love to help OnPassive. So this is this year we expanded to those other professions, and the doctors love it, because if we empower doctors with technology, they're going to take care of patients, and they're going to be able to bring the price points back down, and they're going to be able to stand up to big pharmacy groups and all of these other people that have invited themselves in. So creating lean system, be it if you guys remember, say cryptocurrency, when they came around, everybody got scared. The banks got scared. Everybody got scared because they could no longer be the controlling factor. It was between a borrower and a lender when it came to lending products. So all of the other ones were needed. There was no need for any banks and mitigators and third parties. So there's ways with the peer-to-peer, for example, the financial platforms. It's the same here. You're taking that concept from the financial industry and bringing it into healthcare. Peer-to-peer, the peer-to-peer mechanism, the blockchain, just leaner systems. And this can be created in any industry. If you have engineers on this call, I'm particularly not interested in being part of that movement because I'm a doctor, but engineers could do the same thing, creating leaner systems for their own industry, for their own people, through these platforms, including OnPassive, specifically OnPassive. All right, moving on, Doc. If you, as we are integrating together more and more, and we have had several of OnPassive doctors that are actually in the ranks of OnPassive come onto our podium in the last year and talk about their adventures and their programs and things that they want to see happen. And I think at least two of them are among the top 100 doctors now, besides Dr. Williams and I. We encourage you to bring and invite more doctors to the top100doc.com/nomination. We're getting a lot of scribbles again, guys. But nevertheless, that circled URL on top100doc-nomination. You can get that up. I invite you to invite all of your good doctors, people that do good things in your community, that have done right by you, have done right by your family members, that they come and join our movement, because it's a global movement. And this movement is an uncompromising movement. It's not a movement that you can buy with money. It's a movement that stands for principle. This is the principle that we have established. It is for doctors, by doctors, of doctors, and it is to benefit patients, which is all of us. And the entire healthcare system is one that is broken. It needs someone to come in and actually step to the plate and fix it and clean it up. They laugh at us. They laugh at us. They've been laughing at us for 50 years because of all the loopholes they have explored with money to make life harder for patients and doctors. But at some point, there's a turning point, and the turning point is now. We're going to be working with OnPassive. The school is going to be launched. We're going to train doctors in mass to this platform how to be better doctors, how to have more business acumen, how to perform their procedures better, and how to become an integral part of their community. So you help us and we will help you. There's no cost involved with nominating doctors to our platform. We don't charge doctors for the award. We don't give them $10 plaques for that award. It's all about us seeing that they have done something powerful and they can contribute to this movement. That's our interest, not money at this specifically for the top 100 movement. All right, Doc, please let's go to the last couple of slides. We also encourage you to go to the Global Summits page, Global Summits with an S. That's where we conduct our meetings. If you're interested to find out what we are doing outside of our endeavors and the O-Academy and other projects, the Global Summit is mainly for topics that relate to healthcare. We always have on the weekends high-profile seasoned doctors that come in from all over the globe that lecture, and subsequently we have on a given weekend where we conduct webinars, over 30,000 people come in, mostly healthcare providers. We have had up to 150,000 that have joined us, and there's only 30 million doctors running around, 30 million plus around the world. So you can imagine that with the numbers that we are now having come onto our Global Summits platform, when we do free educational systems, that's all going to be transferred eventually to the O-Academy, where they can come and benefit from these webinars on that platform instead of on currently where it's being conducted in a more nicer environment. So we have done roughly, I don't know, over 300 of these sessions in the last 2 years, and some of the biggest names in healthcare and medicine have joined us on these webinars, and people love it because there are no barriers to education. In this world, there should be never any barriers to education. When you start setting barriers to education, that limits human progress. And O-Academy will enable people to maximize information exchange, which is power. Power is not money. Power is information. Power is knowledge, information exchange, maximizing of information exchange, and the flow of information. So we highly encourage you to collaborate with us as we expand both movements across the world for something that has never been done before to this scale in history.